Well, good afternoon. If it's Mondays, 3 o'clock, it's Mondays with Michael live here on Facebook and our Facebook page here on Facebook. We're in the Training Solutions page. So wherever you're seeing this today, if you're not following us on Facebook and the Training Solutions page, company page, fan page, whatever we're calling it these days, please follow us. We actually put out a lot of great content, a lot of information about HR and training issues and some of the things about small businesses and assessments and different things we do. So please follow us there. You also may be seeing this on LinkedIn. If you're seeing this on LinkedIn, please follow our LinkedIn page. And if you're seeing this on Twitter, follow us on Twitter too. We're on all social media. Try to get the message out all over the place. I hope everyone had a great weekend. Ready for a great week here. Today's session is on productive conflict. So we use this program called Productive Conflict from Wiley. I'm going to talk a little about that program. But I will start by talking about a little bit about conflict at work. And as always, I'm going to go to my trusty notes. For those of you who are regular tuners, you know I go to my trusty notes. So the research tells us that 25% of the time managers at work deal with some type of conflict situation, whether it be within a team or with their colleagues. They're dealing with these conflict situations. Research also tells us there are billions and billions and billions of dollars that are spent each year on time used to trying to resolve conflict, deal with conflict, how I feel about conflict, how you feel about conflict resolution, conflict mediation. There's all this conflict in the workplace. We use a couple different programs around conflict, this being one of them. We also teach teams how to deal with conflict in the 5 Behaviors program. We'll be doing a session about that later on in the fall. So we see a lot of conflict in the workplace. So what does that mean? Well, this particular program, Productive Conflict, done by Wiley, is not a conflict resolution program. It's not a conflict mediation program. There are those types of programs out there. Around here in Washington, D.C., we tend to see those at universities and colleges around town. Great programs, not this type of program. This is not a conflict mediation situation. This is a personal assessment program. So here it is, our Productive Conflict Profile. It's a personal assessment program that uses DISC and behaviors to understand your own personal approach, your own personal reaction to a conflict situation. And based on that, how can you change your approach to that conflict situation? So this is a half-day program. You know, it really teaches folks in a half-day. For our clients who have done DISC before, the DISC part of this probably can be shortened up a bit. So it's about a 3.5-hour program, 3 to 4 hour program, depending on how you deliver it. But let's dive right in and I'll tell you a little about what the program does. The first thing it does, it tells you a little bit about these cornerstone principles about conflict. That conflict is an inevitable part of the workplace, but it also can be productive. And it goes through a series of these cornerstone principles around conflict, around productive conflict. And for those that have used DISC before, it does walk you through the DISC model around conflict situations. So I'm going to briefly go through at a high level how each of the 4 styles approaches conflict from their perspective. So in a conflict situation, those that are high D in the workplace in conflict, they try to focus on logic and victory. They want to be right and they want to win. They think they're right and they want to win. That's what they tend to focus on at their first thoughts or first response to conflict. High I's or influence folks in the workplace focus on expression and feelings. They like to express themselves. So those of you who know High I, they really like to chat it out, talk about it, and they really want to focus on their feelings, how they feel around a conflict situation or in a conflict situation. And sometimes that emotion comes through. Moving around the circle, those that are high S or steadiness in a conflict situation, they focus on feelings like the I, because on the people side of the scale, but they also try to focus on consensus. They want to make sure that everyone is okay during the conflict situation. And whatever comes out of the conflict situation, that everyone is okay with it. So they're worried about those situations also. And last but not least, our high C, conscientious employees, tend to focus on justice and logic. Logic like the dominance, but they also try to focus on justice. I mean, they want to be right, and they know they're right, and they have to prove that they're right. So that's at a high level how folks generally behave in conflict. The profile does go through a narrative about your approach to conflict. There are some D, I, S, and C activities that will happen in the program. If you do those regularly in DISC, you'll do some of those in this particular program. It does go through what's important to you during a conflict situation and what drains your energy in conflict. So again, we go through these 4 quadrants. There are some activities around there. Individuals will learn why you're in conflict with different styles, what your thought process is, what are you thinking, how do you approach those, how are they different from you. So that's the first part of the program, is really understanding the DISC model around conflict. The second part of the module, this is where it gets a little more deep into what it is we're trying to teach here. We're talking about these destructive responses, or your first automatic thought in a conflict situation. And Module 2 really goes through these automatic thoughts. You get to actually select which automatic thoughts you tend to use mostly in a conflict situation. If you read through this list, you could see where the D's would fall, the I's would fall, the S's would fall, and the C's would fall. But you do get to assess what is your automatic thought based on a conflict situation, and what are the potential destructive responses based on that automatic thought. And the assessment's really good about going through a whole series of what we call "Why do you do this?" And there's about 20 of these in the assessment, and it does highlight the ones that you typically use based on your behavioral style. So there is a discussion. You do learn about what your first thought is in a conflict situation. Some of it is based on this, some of it's based on this other research around your first thought and your destructive behaviors, because we tend to have these from time to time. So you'll go through this process, you'll learn a little more about your first thought, which leads us to Module 3. Module 3, we try to teach participants that you have the ability to change this automatic thought. So how do I get myself to a place where I automatically think this? I need to catch myself a little bit. I need to reframe that thought process and then reapproach the conflict situation to make it a productive interaction, not a negative interaction with this particular employee or this particular group. So it's the reframing part of this, which is a real deeper dive. Participants get to work through a case study along the way in this module, where they actually talk about, well, actually they talk to themselves, but they maybe talk with a colleague, but they actually document a situation where they feel that a destructive thought process led to a behavior that probably was unproductive in this particular situation. And we try to get them to reframe that situation, reframe that thought to make it a positive, make it productive, make it a productive situation. And then we get to the action planning part of this. So the action planning part of this is always with our programs. Participants get to pick a couple things they want to try. In our programs, we always try to get them to pick a learning partner. Doing this, they've tried to pick those productive responses that they're going to start using, and they want to practice those over the next few weeks. So it's always good to get a learning partner in this process. This program comes, for trainers that are listening to this, this program comes with the Leader's Guide. Wiley's really good on the instructional design. There's a really good video in this, and there's a lot of good activities in this. The assessment itself is the workbook, so there are no real extra handouts that go with this program. There are a couple handouts that go along the way, and there's a little guidebook that participants will get along the way around some of these destructive thought processes, these behaviors, and how we change them. But you'll get all that in the class when you teach the class. We do teach this class for clients. We are available to teach this in a 3.5, 4-hour program. Just message me wherever you are watching this, and we'll send you some information on that. If you'd like to try this assessment for yourself for free, just let me know. I'll be happy to send you a link to take that. And we do offer a 30-minute overview webinar on this product. It's a real deeper dive. You get to watch some of the videos and whatnot. If you're interested in us doing that 30-minute webinar for your group or for yourself, we're certainly happy to do that. Before we wrap up, I want to talk about next week's session. We've done this a couple times, but I think it's time to do it again. Next week's session will be on harassment in the workplace. We'll take a look at it from two perspectives. We'll do it from the manager perspective, their responsibilities legally when it comes to harassment in the workplace, and then we'll do kind of what should employees know about harassment in the workplace. We offer a ton of programs online. We'll talk about that next week, but this particular topic isn't going away anytime soon. It's really been out there the last couple of years. We get calls all the time for harassment programs, so we'll spend about 10 minutes going through some general stuff, and then we'll put some stuff out there for you to take a look at. There will be some links, depending where you see this, back to the assessment. Sample profile, we'll put information there about the webinar. If you'd like us to do that webinar for you, just let us know. But I'm seeing I'm running out of time here, so let me wrap up. Thank you for hanging out with me today in the room. This is Monday with Michael Live on Facebook, and we'll see you next Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for hanging out.